Paul, good to see you.
How are you, Dan? Good to see you.
Yeah. G'day Vince, how are you, mate?
Good to meet you, Dan. Yep.
All right. So, hey everyone, welcome to today's episode of Aussie Garage. Today we're down here at American Auto Parts with Vince and Paul. So we're going to take a bit of a deep dive into the shop today, and we're going to check out the story behind the shop and also some of these lovely cars. Okay, Paul, Vince, first of all, thanks so much for having us out today.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Yeah, really pleased to be part of the Aussie Garage.
No, awesome. So let's start with a bit of the history of the shop. Now, I believe, Vince, you started this out in 1971.
1971 from the back garage at home.
And I also believe you bought your first Mustang in 69, was that right?
Yeah, from Exmouth, Western Australia, from the American Naval Base. Just went for a trip up there and saw a Mustang. I think, oh, that'd be nice, because they used to come out from America with all their family and furniture and car, and then only for 18 months, then they'd go back. They actually sort of sold the car off.
And tell me the story with that one. So that was the first one you bought, converted and sold, is that right?
That's correct, yeah. Bought it in, it was 71, and we had it converted and painted because Exmouth was a place where everything baked itself out.
Yeah.
And got it in, and then after about 18 months being converted to right-hand drive and painted, we had it sold.
And is that sort of where it all started? Is that what gave you the idea to start your first business?
That's right, because what happened, the person got it and then he smashed it.
All right.
And he came to me and said, what about the parts? I said, oh, okay, we'll get you some parts. And next minute we knew we had a parts business rolling along. That's how it all started.
Yeah, nice. Okay, so I assume that Exmouth would have only had so many cars in it. So where were you getting your cars after that?
In 1971, went to Adelaide and met a chap called Ron Lewis from Task Imports. He was one of the biggest importers in Australia back in those years. And I hooked up with him and he said, I'll get you some cars and you can sell them on consignment in Perth. Okay. Which is one of the first ones that came out was a 69 Mach 1. It was one of the first ones that came out, 4-speed, which is very desirable. And that was sold as it left the freight terminal when I picked it up.
Okay.
I picked it up in a tow truck and towed it there, and the bloke said, just take it round to my shop, I'll give you the money for it. In that time frame of 18 months, I was assigned to 25 cars that came in on consignment to Perth. That's how it all sort of started, and parts had to be formed after that.
So those 25 cars, I imagine you had no problems flipping those here in Perth?
No, there were no problem at all. I used to carry a photo album around and I'd say, do you like that? Just give us $100 deposit, and it's yours when it gets here. Yep. That's how it all started.
So they were coming over from the eastern states?
From the west coast of America, up in Seattle. And they went into Adelaide because they had a roll-on wharf there. And then I used to go there and get them, and I'd pick out this one and that one for different people. And I'd put them on the train and bring into Kewdale. Yeah, so that's how it all sort of started.
You had a couple of prize picks there too, Dad.
Yeah, that's right.
one in particular, the Shelby's and the Mach 1s and Dodge Challenger. And
that's right, Dodge Challenger and Cougars and stuff like that. Okay. All came in. It was just good because I could, when they came in, there was usually 6 at a time. And I'd say, you'll have that. And Ron said, yeah, you can have them, no problem.
Back then.
But again, it's just you guys working together as a bit of a conglomerate, really.
That's right.
Having each other's backs and making a success out of it for each other as well as yourselves.
That's right. That's how it did. And Ron used to come to Perth and see me and say, how are you going? And he said, yeah, that's selling. And I told him what not to send because, I knew it wouldn't sell.
Yep.
And you found one for yourself too, you had for 10 years.
That's right. There was the GT500 428.
Beautiful.
69 model. Shelby it was, the white with the blue stripes.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And I thought that was just nice. I'll have that one too.
Yeah.
So eventually someone wanted to come and buy it, so it went. Yep. But Paul was too young then to get his licence.
Yeah, sold.
So it got sold.
Oh, so you missed out.
I missed out.
Yeah.
I remember going in it as a young boy.
Yep.
And Dad wouldn't take it very far, but it had so much horsepower, be pinned to the seat.
Yeah.
Pinned to the seat. So 428, automatic, Detroit locker, had the whole lot. Real wild one.
Yeah.
Was a
No,
while.
it sounds like it, yes. And you guys know where it is now, do you?
Yeah,
yeah,
Dad knows
still
where it
there.
is.
So you haven't gone around and hit him up to go for that drive that you never
No,
got?
I think if I drove, I'd want to buy it.
Yeah.
I'd have to have it back.
Then we went to, teed up with an importer in Melbourne. He brought parts in and also cars. It's Kevin Musgrave from Boss Auto Parts back then,
Okay.
and eventually changed it to Mustang World. But he's since passed on, and he sort of got me started in the parts business. That's how it all started. And we imported, first thing we did, we looked after the Falcon because that was already a car that was here, and we imported the GT Shaker. And then people wanted to make up faker shakers, with the XYs and XWs.
Yeah,
And that
there's
was
lots
a
of fakers out there.
big hit then back in those years. So we got plenty of that in and started to reproduce some parts for the Falcon, which we formed a company between three of us, which was KVR, which was Kevin, Vince and Robin.
Yep.
There was us, and we decided to pool money and make stuff.
Yep.
We picked out a part that people are going to notice on their car if it's damaged, mainly outside parts so you can see it. So we started off with the car aerials,
Square
Yep.
base.
square base aerial. We made that, and we all had our part number on the back. So that sort of made it so no one could buy it unless they got it from the manufacturer. We all had about 1,000 of them each. There was 3,000 aerials, and they all sort of went over the years. We got rid of them.
Yep.
And then the next project, what are we going to do next? So we were all sort of keen to put our money in to make stuff. So we made the rocker panel mouldings. So we had the clips and everything to hold it on, and people said, oh, this is good, because Ford stopped producing that stuff. So then we sort of, we'll be open market, we'll try and make a bit of stuff, and made the fuel caps, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Word of mouth spread, who's this bloke in Perth that's importing all these parts? Because no one else in Perth was doing it. I was the first one to initiate it. And that's what happened, and bang, it just took off from there. And we had a Polaroid camera back in those days to take a photo, and that went with the order to America, to the wrecking yard over there, and the people said, yep, we can get that. I said, ship it, and it made it happen. We sort of evolved, and Kevin passed away, unfortunately, and then we started to get our own sort of contacts in America, and we formed it all up from there.
So working from home, like out of your garage at home, obviously that was, when did you come along into all of that? How old were you? Were you around when you started business, or?
Not quite. It's 1970.
Okay.
Yeah, born in 70, and Dad's always had cars and different projects on the go, and big cars in the backyard and the different states of repair, and was always just around it and just followed from that, and then became an apprentice mechanic. Left school at 15 and did the apprenticeship at local Ford dealer, McInerney Ford in Morley, so that was a great opportunity. And then I was on my way. Loved the cars, and Dad brought a couple of Mustangs in over the years and restored one of them. The first one had to be converted to right-hand drive. That won the 92 concourse
Okay.
down in Fremantle. Yeah, it's good. So we set out to restore the car, and that's how we got into it. And it was a good learning experience for me, from leaving the Ford dealership and actually getting more hands-on with engines and suspension and brakes. You sort of look up to your father and think, oh, well, this is a good hobby, and help him, I think, a couple of times, and probably made a couple of mistakes. Got in the way.
Well, that's how we learn, isn't it?
That's how we learn,
Yeah, growing up with that in the backyard must have been a huge influence on
It
you.
was, yeah. And also, too, we talk about influential cars and stuff like that. Dad had a F250 61 tow truck, so that was all chromed up and
Nice.
had nice wheels and horn and everything else like that on it. So getting dropped at school, that was pretty cool. Having the pickup truck here as well, sort of growing up with that, with Dad building it a little bit at a time, and just seeing the different stages, and it was just like, wow, how is this ever going to come together? And then it all just happens, and hard work, and he's very knowledgeable and got all the right contacts and made it happen, So that took a while to do too, but got there in the end, didn't we? And it's become our shop truck for the business, and it used to be in the backyard at home, wasn't it?
That's
Dad?
right.
So people would turn up all hours, wouldn't they?
That's all ours. That's every day.
Talk a bit more about the business and stuff like that. I'd be doing my homework, and people be coming around and sort of like, oh, I don't want to do the homework. Forget reading about this. I'm interested in what Dad's sort of saying and what he's selling, and people would come around after dinner and sometimes before dinner and be buying stuff.
Consoles and the Zebo shifters, 5-slot rims and whatnot, and that just all took off.
And had it all at home, and then expanded the business at home, didn't you? You did it all up, and
that made it more better. So
had a bit of memorabilia there.
That's right.
people got there and they didn't know when to leave, did
That's
they?
right. That's right.
You made it too comfortable for
That's
them.
right.
It was a Sunday drive for some people, you know. They come out and then sometimes the wife would be in the car and we hear the horn would hoot and they'd hurry up, you know, sitting in the hot car at the front and the guys would be talking shop and talking cars and talking car shows and what they were going to build and what they were doing, and it was a real niche business.
Yeah, but I was there for 44 years at home before I moved here in 2013.
Just expanded more and we've got a website and now we've got a Facebook page and things like that, and did it all up so that it's an interactive shop and something to look at. You might not have a Mustang or a GT Falcon, and we're mainly Mustang parts now, but there's always something, isn't there, Dad?
That's right. First of all, Paul actually designed the shop of a few shops in America. You get the idea. It took us 2 years to sort of design it how we wanted it. But then we started getting into merchandise and got on to the Ford people over in America, and they said, yep, you can sell it over here.
Imported the Ford merchandise, that was back in probably the mid-80s.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Caps and T-shirts and that sort of stuff that people love.
Yeah.
It wasn't here in Perth then. You couldn't buy it. We did plenty of shows out, and the thing we've done shows in the eastern states. We used to send all the stuff over when the national concourses were on.
Yep.
We did that, and also we did local shows here like All Ford Day back in the early days.
Yep.
So it was sort of hands-on. I had a few Mustang shows here, but it just evolved, and then when we got the parts store, well, that sort of, we slowed it down on going out to it because they were coming to us.
Did a few motivation as well over the years in Belmont Park and Burswood and you know, grassroots car shows, you know, for Perth, Western Australia, and selling. We used to sell all the merchandise, but also we did a show bag.
Okay.
And they were lined up for them.
Yeah, right. Wow.
You go to a car show, you got to have a show bag. So
Yeah.
Dad came up with the idea of having a show bag, and we had the proper American Auto Parts bag, and everyone go, where do you get that from? And that guy down there, he's selling it. You know, go and see him. Oh, I want that hat. And what did you have in there, Dad?
Hat, the poster. We had water, postcards and stuff like that, and also stickers to keep your Australia Beautiful driver forward.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And all that sort of stuff went in. That all went with the show bag when we first started, about $18. And people, got to have one of them.
No,
So
perfect.
it just took off. It was a niche thing, and then obviously a business card was in there, and then someone would ring up during the week and, can you get us the parts? And it just went on, didn't it?
It went on from there. That's it, how it happened.
All the new old stock sort of got sold, didn't it?
That's right.
At the dealerships.
That's right.
You bought up a lot of stuff from all around Australia.
That's right, yeah. Remember that? We bought in, the first thing we got was the horn rubber for the GT Falcon.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we got them and thought, this will be good. But because no one else could buy it anywhere else.
Yep.
And then badges as well.
That's the badges and that we
like all the new
produced.
old stock, you purchased all that first.
That's right, and then we made the badges.
Remake the badges, they were very popular, yeah. So I remember people would come around and the phone would ring, wouldn't it? Saturday night.
I used to run 2 phone numbers. See, one was American Auto Parts and one was Mustang.
Okay.
Could juggle the two.
But one thing I've been wondering, where did Mr. Mustang come from? How did you get titled Mr. Mustang?
I think it's because I brought in the first Mustang and I thought, well, I better go and put that on my licence plate and then register the business. Yeah. So that's how it all sort of started, and then it went worldwide then, because people in America used to ring me up and I want to talk to Mr. Mustang.
Yeah, nice.
There is a Mr. Mustang in the US as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So but I think they probably got it mixed up. And
yeah. Now you guys have gone a bit above and beyond, I've heard, over the years.
Dad had a customer, Mick
and Jared. He used to live in Tasmania, and he said, oh look, I want to get all these parts to do my car up. I said, yeah, I can do that for you, Mick, no problem. We can send them down there, put them in a truck and get them all there for you. And then Mick rang up and said he wasn't going to do his quarter windows and his door windows. He said, oh, will be able to help me? And I said, yeah, I think he'd help you, I'll ask him. And Paul took a weeks off from work, annual leave, and Mick threw him down there, put the windows in, and down there for a week. Got it all in, Mick was happy, and Paul come home.
Did a few other jobs as well, and once you start these things, and I said that part goes there, that part goes there, and pieced it all together for Mick and Jared, and it was good, came up really well.
But it's great to see you guys stepping out the door, and as well as being in the shop and helping out as much as you can. So, and it's probably, to be honest, it's probably part of your success, I'd say, having that attitude.
Yeah. One thing that Paul did, we had a customer ring up and said, look, I don't know where all these nuts and bolts go to. I said, look, we'll come up after work and we'll show you.
Nice.
Anyway, Paul sat on it. It's all on the garage floor, and I said, that goes there, that goes there. Put them all in little bundles. And the bloke looked at him and said, how come you know all that? I said, well, Paul's already pulled a couple of cars down.
Yeah.
So we knew. So he couldn't thank us enough. You know,
Yeah.
it was all there. It was all laid out for you. Now you have to put it together.
And then we also do identity on the Mustangs as well. If someone's purchasing a Mustang and Dad's got a small book and it's got all the codes in it, haven't you? And you go and decode cars for
That's
people
right. I've
either
done that,
before they
yeah.
bought them, hopefully.
Oh, just so they know what it came out of with the, out of the factory with, that
that's
sort
right.
of thing.
You know,
Yeah.
like a 4-stud is a 6-cylinder vehicle, and you know, you want to buy a 5-stud if you want a V8, and you know, if you want to get matching numbers and different things like that, and you've got to delve a little bit deeper into it. But and where the car's produced, you know, which side of America it's been made on, East Coast or West Coast,
Well,
Jersey West.
Yeah, it's happening a lot now because the younger generation don't know how to read an ID code.
Yep.
You know, a lot of people are going to buy a car and think, oh, they fall in love with it, and they think, hang on, we better check and see what it is. Give us a ring. So I'll go through and decode it all for them. Oh, I didn't know it was a 6-cylinder, now it's a V8. I think the heart rules the wallet.
Yeah.
If you're thinking of buying something, come and see us, and don't buy it till I tell you what it all is.
And that's a free service. That's part of the hobby, and because we're enthusiasts, and that's just what we do. You know, we love it as well. And they'll turn up here with a car, and sometimes we even know the owner, don't you?
That's
you
right.
Say, yeah, it's a correct
Belong to
car,
him.
it's a genuine car, and Perth's you know, getting bigger, of course, and
that's
the
right.
cars are coming in from eastern states and the US still.
That's what's happening now, but back in the 70s, I used to know everyone's car. But now it's just got bigger and bigger, and cars, as Paul said, that come from the eastern states, come out of America, because when the dollar was even with our dollar, it opened the floodgates, and in they came.
Yep.
One funny thing used to happen, police used to drive them a lot, and then come out from being in the pub and the badges were missing, and they ring me straight away, 10 or 12 o'clock at night. Look, the badges have gone out of my car, have you got any? Anyway, they did all that, and I got them the badges, and they're all happy again.
Yep.
You can see the smile on their face.
Yeah, nice.
When you know you've got something there ready. You know, it's here now.
Well, thanks for giving us the history of the business and everything, because it's really, really interesting. But maybe we should head over and have a closer look at the old truck.
Yeah,
right, yeah.
Sounds good.
Now, before we jump into this, I've got to ask, where did all this passion for old cars come from?
It came from when I used to live down at south of Margaret, a place called Witchcliffe, where my father had a general store and a service station. My dad had a 1952 Ford Custom, and also he had a 57 Custom Line, and then he got a 59 Ford Ranch Wagon when the family grew to 7 of us.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so that's how it all sort of started. I got a bit keen on it, then I thought this is a good idea. So Dad used to let me start the car and whatnot, and you know, back it out of the garage for him and have it all ready.
Yep.
And Dad was always one for going very quick.
Okay.
You know, he used to go, you could hear him go up the road, he'd go from first to top.
Okay, right.
And he wouldn't use second gear.
Yep.
Just to get going in a hurry.
Yep.
But anyway, it all sort of grew from there, and I just sort of thought, oh, this will be nice. And then when the parents moved away and Dad passed away, I thought, oh, I've got the passion to sort of do something. I had to come from down Witchcliffe because we had to had to get a job in Perth because there was no work down there for the younger generation in those days. There were only farmers and things like that. It was sort of growing up like the pioneer days, back in the early late 40s and 50s. So anyway, I came to Perth and I finished up, had a little job, and then I managed to get a tow truck.
Okay.
And then it all started from there.
And then, of course, this one came along.
That's right. Well, I saw this in the town of Witchcliffe, and I thought, oh, I'll go and get that and find out where it is now. You know, back then I remember it. Then I remember it would still be down there somewhere. So when I went down there it was. It just parked in the shed, and I thought, what are you going to do with it? And they said, no, we're going to be ready to cut it up.
Okay.
I said, well, don't do that. So I gave them some money, and then they said, oh, you're going to rebuild? I said, yeah, we're going to make it like that. And got it all done, and then eventually I took it down there back to Showroom.
Nice.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I'll bet, yeah. So you were saying you'd been looking at this car since you were 5 years old.
That's
or something
right,
like that.
yeah.
You'd seen it around the town. And
I remember it around the town.
And how old were you when you went back and refound it?
Probably about 30.
Okay.
Around about that age, I suppose, when I had the tow truck, and I thought, I'll go down there and I'll see if it's still there. And there it was.
Yep.
Still.
So lucky they still had it, really, after all those years.
That's right, they backed it into the shed, and that's where they left it.
Yep.
You know, they had a tabletop on it where they used to cart the hay round.
Okay.
And that's how it all sort of started. I thought, I'll get that. And they said, yep, you can have it and take it back to Perth.
Yeah, nice.
And after I'd had it all done, I sent them a photo, and they said, oh, this is very nice. We used to call it Henry Ford, because back in those days to import one of them out of Canada was very rare, because it was right-hand drive.
Okay, so this was imported from Canada back in the day.
Back in the day, the farmer imported it in from Canada, probably through a Ford dealer. That's how it probably all started.
Yeah, okay. How long did it take you to rebuild it at that point?
At that point, we're getting it in 1976 and going through a bit at a time. A few panel burt had to be done and whatnot, and then went to a painter, and it was finished in 1984.
Okay.
So over that period of time, we all did a little bit of it and whatnot. Then we had to find the motor, the gearbox, find the diff, put it all under it, it all worked out well.
Yep. So from something that was finished in 84, it's held up very, very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It did. Since then now to the day, it's held up very well.
Yeah. Yeah, because it doesn't look like you've done anything to it since.
No,
no
nothing too much
repairs.
to it. Paul done a lot of cleaning on it and whatnot, but we used to take it to all the car shows and have a trailer we used to pull with all the merchandise and whatnot in it.
Okay, yeah. So very much the business vehicle. It became the business vehicle once the business came along.
That's right. Yeah, that's how we did.
Yeah,
that brings it to the sign on the side of the door.
Yeah,
sign written and whatnot.
Now this is just a pretty solid colour red. It's nothing.
It's called a Monza Red, which was a
Red?
Ford colour back in those days.
Yeah.
When we first did it.
Yeah, nice. Obviously, all the chrome work would have had to have been redone. All that sort of thing.
We had to do all the re-chrome. Some of it's stainless steel, but the bumpers had to be done, and then other little pieces and pieces on it. We had to get a petrol cap, lock cap. We got that out of America, and a few other. Then all the door rubbers that were all reproduced in the States.
Yep. Yeah, they've got a pretty good second-hand market over there.
Very good, very
parts,
good.
Yeah,
that's right.
Which, of course, you've tapped into with the business over the years.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah. And the bonnet ornament, I believe, is a bit unique to this. It's not actually off this vehicle.
No, that's right. That came out of a 61 Fairlane. It used to be on the two mudguards.
Okay.
We used to call it a gun barrel.
Rightio, yeah. Oh, the sight.
That's right.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, that's what it was nicknamed anyway.
I reckon we should pop the bonnet and have a look and see what you've done under there.
Okay, Dan, good.
All right, Vince, so what are we running under here, mate?
We've got a 351 4V out of a Fairlane with a 600 Holly, and also the radiator came out of a Chrysler.
Okay.
That's how it was just fitted straight into the main frame and just straight in without any alteration.
Yep, I can't complain at that.
No, that's right.
Oh, beautiful. So this obviously wasn't the original running gear in this thing?
No, definitely not.
Yeah. So what did it have before you did the transplant?
Before that, it had a side valve V8 flathead, as they called it back then, and it had a 4-speed crash box and the standard type diff that came with it.
Yeah. No, so very agricultural back in the day, wasn't it?
Back in there, very agricultural. That's right.
Yeah, so it would have been quite an upgrade to go to the 351. These are a strong engine.
That's right, very strong engine, and it fitted straight in, and I thought there's not much alteration, had to make the mounts and whatnot. That's about all we did to it, and a gearbox mount, and it went straight in. It was not a problem.
Yeah, well, there's certainly no problem with room in this, is there? There's plenty of room for it.
Plenty of room for that, and it sort of fitted out quite well.
Now, going forward for Ford, did you have to change engine mounts or anything like that, or was it?
On this one, we had to get them specially made.
Okay.
We used the Ford mount, the motor mount, which is the rubber, and then we had to make the brackets to suit that from the chassis.
Yep. What gearbox and diff have you got running behind this?
This is FMX transmission, and it was out of the T-bar shifter came out of a Cortina. That's how we did that, and everything sort of matched up, and there was no body modifications to make it all fit in.
Yeah, nice. Well, that's really good that you haven't had to chop into anything.
No, didn't have to chop into the body work. It's just make stuff and make it fit.
Yep. And the diff?
The diff was out of a 67 Ford Galaxy.
Okay.
With a 9-inch diff in it, and it went straight under with no problem at all. Everything was right. Didn't have to alter the springs or the U-bolts. Straight under it and bolted it up.
So didn't have to change the mounts on the diff housing itself?
Nothing at all.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Really, you think that modifying it to put all this in, your radiator dropped straight in, your diff dropped straight in. It sounds like it was too easy for you.
It was too easy. The one thing we had to do, we had to put disc brakes on the front out of XR Falcon. They were the ones to go, and then we had to put a booster in a VH40, which is a common one to use. We mounted up underneath the running board.
Yeah, common hot rodding
that's right,
remote booster, those ones, aren't they?
Yeah, very good.
No, awesome. Now, I notice you've got the big air horn there. Is it...
So yeah, the normal horns work, two here, and the oogler horn
Nice.
for the old-fashioned truck.
Yeah, no, beautiful. Yeah, they get people looking at you at the lights.
Yeah.
So it's very, very clean in here. So obviously you went right through the truck when you rebuilt it.
That's it.
The engine's been painted up immaculately and
That's
everything.
right. Yeah, so we did that sort of thing, and we did a few little carby adjustments and whatnot, but everything was just perfectly just left, and we had to rewire it and whatnot. We still got the old push button to start.
Yeah, beautiful.
But other than that, there was not much to do. It was just everything sort of fitted up, and we had to get all the rubbers and whatnot when we put the body together, but it was just perfect the way it happened.
You've even haven't bothered with extractors or anything like that. You've just got the normal headers on there, that sort of thing.
Leave all the original manifolds. That's it.
Yeah. And it kind of suits the truck because this truck hasn't been chopped, it hasn't been lowered, it hasn't been dumped on its guts, anything like that.
No,
it's you've kept it an honest truck.
I just want to keep everything original. I sort of say, look, leave it original, and you'd have no drama.
Yeah. No, that's it. Perfect. All right, no worries. Well, let's go around and have a look in the trim.
All right, very good.
Wow. Wow, this is awesome in here. I love the old school interiors.
Yes.
Metal dashes, that sort of thing. They just have a character of their own, don't they?
Yeah, sure do, yeah.
You obviously repainted in here and you've done the hood lining and everything like that?
There used to be a cardboard hood lining, and then
Yep.
we got the material one put in, had all that done. Seats, they come out of a 68 Ford Mustang, and the steering wheel come off a 66 Mustang.
Yeah, nice. So you got a few little Mustang parts in here.
Yeah, that's right.
Makes it more comfortable there, doesn't it? These
yeah,
seats are very
definitely,
good.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
And we had the old 8-track radio.
I was going to say that wouldn't have been the original radio,
No,
but
that's
it's
right.
still a very old school radio.
That's
You
right,
never see
that's-
8-tracks anymore.
No, that's right, that's right.
Do you have any 8-track cassettes put in
Yeah,
there?
I've got some, yep. I think they're in the glove box there.
Yeah, nice, lovely. And you've stayed with the original dash, you haven't updated the gauges or anything like that?
No, left them all original there.
And do they all work?
They all work, yep.
Yeah.
Just press button and away it goes.
No, perfect.
That there come out of a Ford truck, like a 51 Ford,
Yep.
to get the steering column and also the pedal box.
No worries. So is that the original steering column in it, or did
The
you
original-
upgrade that?
No, upgrade the steering column, but the original steering box.
Okay. All the glass and everything like that, was that all in good nick when you got it? Or did you have to replace
we
anything?
replaced all the glass, we had it all cut. We were lucky it was all flat glass, so we had it all remade. And the rubbers and that we had to get out of America.
Okay.
That's about it, yeah, that was right.
Yeah.
Changed the door handles.
Oh, okay, yeah, they've got the wood grain door handles, that sort of thing. And it's funny, like, I mean, these were built very much for just work, weren't they? So they're
That's
quite
right.
small in here
Yeah.
when you think about the amount of room you've got. Like, I mean, the two of us are quite comfy, but
That's right.
you wouldn't want to have anyone else in
No,
here.
that's right. It's only for a 2-seater, really.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. So this would have been a bench seat arrangement originally,
yeah, bench
was
seat
it?
was in here originally, that's right, yep.
And you mentioned the floor shifter before.
Floor
So-
shifter, they went in the same place because there's a 4-speed crash box.
Yep.
And I just put the 4-speed, there's this here for the out of a Cortina.
Yeah. And I like that, you know, it's kept old school.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
the way to have it, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think so too, particularly with something classic like this.
Well, you just leave it as it is and don't if you alter something, that seems to undoes something else.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, well, let's jump out. We're going to have a look at this like was your business truck. So you've got the logo on the door.
That's right,
Yeah,
yes.
so we'll jump out and have a talk about that.
Okay, Dan, thank you. Okay.
All right, mate, so here's your American Auto Parts logo.
Yep.
Yeah, I believe you had to put a bit of thought into that back in the day.
Yeah, I did put a bit of thought into it, and I wanted something that sort of recognised Ford, being more Ford than anything else that we sell here. And I thought I'll design it off the Ford oval. I thought the American will go there, Auto Parts there, and through here we got 5 stars. And I thought, well, I reckon we can do a 5-star service,
Yep.
and we have got that rating now already.
Yeah, beautiful.
So that's how it all sort of started. But people say, how did you get the oval? I said, well, I showed a sign right of the Ford oval, and I said, look, get it as close as you can and get that into it.
Yep.
And he said, I can fix that for you. No problem. So
And there's also 5 stars on the Australian flag too.
that's
so,
it. That's
yeah.
right. Yeah, that's right. So that worked out quite well.
Yeah, no, brilliant. And I believe the freighter badges up here, you were saying that you had to have them specially made or remade.
Remade. We had them remade because the word freighter was on there, but they'd all deteriorated. It was some sort of metal that wouldn't sort of stand up like stainless steel.
Yep.
So I went to a company in Perth and they actually made it for me from the exact thing, drilled the holes and put it straight back on where it's supposed to be.
I was going to say, it looks just like the original badge,
That's
the ones that I've seen before, so yeah.
That's it, just like that.
The big old school step sides and everything on this, it just makes it, doesn't it?
That's right.
Yeah, yeah.
That's right, with the running boards and then the guards to match. That guard there matches the front one.
Yep.
That's how it had to be. And
so you're saying you got the tray out of America, didn't you, so that it would match the car perfectly?
That's right, the pickup bed, we had to get the right one for that year to match up with the front mudguards. And that's it. The chap come up with the wrecking yard, had one, so put it on the boat and got it here.
Yeah, nice. So it all just fell together in the end, really, didn't it? And I suppose your contacts with the spare parts people over in America would have helped a lot.
Oh, that it did help a lot.
Yeah.
So because it had to come with a tailgate, which has got Ford on it.
Yeah, yeah, the Ford stamped in.
They were stamped in and it's waged out and looked quite nice.
Yeah.
So I thought, it'll happen. So when that arrived, I thought this would be good because it was all a bit rusty at the back because they'd had stuff in it and the tailgate was all bent down.
Mm-hmm.
We had to get that all machined up and
Yep.
put back how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So that's how we did it.
No, nice. Well, it's certainly come up extremely nice. It's a lovely car.
Yeah, thank you. That's right. And the wheels, just tapping on the wheels here. I got them made up in Adelaide because we wanted to fit the good truck tyres, so it filled up the guard.
Yep.
So 15-inch 12-sliders suited it.
Yep, perfect.
Back in those days.
Yeah, and it's another cool feature of this. It's got the big truck tyres on it. It's still up high like a truck. It hasn't been really lowered like they all do these days and put them on airbags and all that sort of thing. So, and it gives this thing a really unique feel.
Just leave it unique, leave it original, and you get more looks of that than you probably do nowadays with things that have dropped.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, just something that's in its original style. It just makes it look so much better.
I think it takes people back to those days.
It does. That's it. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Takes them back and they remember, I remember Uncle such and such's old truck or something like that. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. No, perfect, mate. Well, look, thanks heaps for showing us this old beast, mate. It's an absolutely wonderful car. So thanks heaps for showing us and all the little touches that you've done to it, even though it's pretty original, there's been some really nice things
thank you, Dan.
put into this car.
Yeah, no, it's been very good to come along from Aussie Garage and have a good look at this sort of thing.
Yeah, no, we love it. Don't worry about us. Yeah, we can't get enough of it.
That's good, yeah.
Yeah, no, perfect. All right, guys, so here we are in the showroom. You were saying that your suppliers have changed over the years and that sort of thing, so what can you tell us about that?
Mainly the quality of the parts have improved because a lot of them now have to be Ford licensed, and that's why we got onto them, and that's the only way to get something that's really good, and then people don't complain.
And I suppose, so the part numbers are universal then throughout the world?
Yes,
in that case then?
That's right.
Yeah. So if you're chasing an American part number, they can just come in here and just say, have you got this part type
Yeah,
thing?
that's how we got it. Yep.
Well, that must make it easy for the customers to track their bits and pieces down.
That's right. Well, they might have a 66 model and they say, want a petrol cap for a 66, got them here.
Yep,
no
perfect.
problem.
So how many parts do you reckon, the individual parts have you got on the shelf here?
I'd say quite a lot.
Yeah.
I'd say, just here because
small drawers as well at the back.
That's right. Well, I'd say probably in the thousands. But we also carry the panels too, the bonnets, the guards and all that stuff, because usually we average about one prang a month, which is unfortunate for some people, but they want the parts, the insurance companies want it, and they want to be able to put the car together and make it right and keep the customer happy.
2021, you guys celebrated your 50th anniversary of being here in the shop, I believe.
That's right, yeah, after a long time, 40 years.
40 years in the backyard. Come here, we've been here now 13 years, and we decided, Paul said, let's have a party. So Paul managed to organise everything and as a show as well, and we celebrated the 50 years.
So that would have been a good turnout, I imagine.
Over 70 cars, about 75 Mustangs and F100s and American cars, and it was really good. Filled the whole car park out the front here and around the corner and up the other corner as well, and great celebration and a great milestone for Dad here and my mum as well, you know.
We all came down and all had a
All of us.
bit of a show
Yeah,
here,
a
and
lot of-
people come from everywhere. Said, "Oh, this is a good show on." And yeah, well, it's 50 years now, since 1971 to 2021.
A lot of old customers came back.
That's
didn't
right.
they?
Oh, yeah, they came
Old
back.
tradespeople came back as well. I think one of the old panel beaters came back. And,
That's right. They all come back to see
Motor
what's
trimmer
going
was
on.
here, and
Yeah.
some
But see, that's perfect. That just means that you guys aren't just a shop, you're actually part of the Mustang community.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Ford community.
The
as
Ford
well,
community and
modern
as a whole.
cars and everything, you know. Yeah, it was a great day, great turnout, and everyone had a great time and relived a lot of good memories, and spoke about the time in the shop at home and
That's right.
how it started and how we've sort of
That's
evolved now.
Yeah.
And it's important to mention too that you go to the car shows and you meet the true enthusiasts, and they've got the car, they're building it, and then you can actually talk to them about the car and their build and what parts they want, and then they've got the time at a car show to chit chat and so we used to do a lot of car shows back in the day.
Yeah. And I did notice there was a lot of young fellas with their dads in their Mustangs at the last show, so hopefully that's the next generation of people to continue these cars on.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, look, this is not the end of our time with you guys. We've got a couple more cars we want to go through with you guys, but we're going to have to do that on another day.
That's cool.
But thanks so much for showing us around the shop. I feel you guys are really in the community, not just a part of it. You guys are building a good solid part of the community with the spare parts and getting out there and helping your customers on site, all that sort of thing.
And going to car shows as well, and still enjoy the cars and coffee, and get one of the Mustangs out and take it down the road for a run. You know, you
could think of nothing better on a Sunday.
That's it. You know, and that's what it's all about. You know, bit fun and that. But thanks very much, Dan, and great to be part of it. You know,
Yeah, very
really
good.
No worries. Well, like I said, we'll be back because the both of you have a Mustang each.
That's right.
I've seen them and they're amazing.
Yes.
We'll look forward to seeing you guys then.
Thank you so much, Dan.
No worries.
Thanks,
very
Dan,
much.
very much. Thank
Cheers.
you. Yep.
Cheers. No creaking.
No creaking.